Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Good evening if you are in Kenya. This is a live broadcast on review in the year 2024 for myself. And I've titled this live broadcast Coping with Stress and Pressure as a Freelancer or a Business Person, Living Anywhere in the World and Running Your Business Online. So we'll be starting this live broadcast in the next 30 seconds. So stay tuned. So I am going to start this live broadcast, and in this live broadcast, I have titled it with I've titled it Coping with Pressure and Stress in Business. So the year 2024 for myself as a media consultant living in Kenya was a tough one. So basically, for those who don't know me, I was a freelancer before. I used to work on Upwork and other freelancing platforms, offering services as a video producer. But 2 years ago, I left doing freelance so that I can focus on running a media consultancy business, which is based here in Nairobi, Kenya. I'll be talking about coping with pressure in business, reflecting on the year 2024. How was it for me? And how did I cope with stress and pressure in business, and offering also still on a personal level or an individual level consultancy services as a media provider. So how do you cope with pressure in business? And these pressures come in different forms. The most common one, which comes when you are a business owner or a media or a business consultant, is the one where a client gives you a job, and towards the D-Day for the job, when you are about to do the job, they start giving you excuses on why, maybe, or asking you for things they should have asked before, so that they can make that evaluation and make a decision in working with you. So how do you cope with these pressures, and how do you handle them so that it doesn't affect your natural being, it doesn't affect your emotional being? So I'll give you a scenario. You have all the skills in on a service that you are providing for the client, but the client still gives you a lot of pressure in terms of providing you with necessary support in order to deliver the services that you're trying to deliver on time and in the right format or quality. So how do you ensure that you cope with these pressures? Because it usually comes with in business, and it usually comes to you, and it may affect how you will be getting paid by the client, or when you will be getting paid by your prospective clients. So how do you deal with these pressures? In this video, I'm going to share with you. So the let's talk about how this pressure and stress in business affects your well-being. In most occasions, when you are frustrated by your client who have hired you to do a job for them, the first thing that comes to one's mind is giving up on the skills that or on that type of business that the client has assigned you to do. The first thing that comes to mind is to give up in that assignment, and that is not the way to go. Remember that when you are starting a business or when you're starting a venture online, be it a consultancy, be it you're selling products online, and you get bad reviews from the prospective people or from those people who are interested in your services or products, remember the vision that you have. Like when you started the business, what was your vision and what was your goal? And out of that, when you remember or when you reflect and see the vision that you had in that business, it would be easy now to reflect and see, are there lessons that you can learn and pick from these prospective clients, or was there just to what these people, the client, for example, or a customer who came to your business, were they just interested in frustrating your business and giving and killing your business, or what did they have very tangible reasons why they are complaining about your services, or why they are saying that maybe you're not providing the services in the standard they want, or the frustration that you got from that? What is the goal of that, and what can you learn from that? And when you reflect on the vision, you will realize that the skills that you have, the knowledge, the business that you have is more important than the clients that you choose to work with. And in future, maybe you can now look on ways or look into ways in which you can change your terms, for example, of working with clients in order to accommodate the stress that you went through that during that season, in order to accommodate new clients with that character. So one way is just to reflect on your vision and remind yourself that your vision matters more than how a client or how a customer treats your business. Another way, which actually happens in most occasions when a client frustrates you, is to look into your pricing. Some back and forth, for example, if you're doing a video or writing articles for a client, the back and forth that you get from the clients usually affects the way you handle the project. For example, if you usually offer, for example, 5 or 3 revisions on a project, and you have this client who is requesting you to do as many revisions that are more than what you can offer, it means that you are spending more time on that client's project that you could have spent on another person's project. And in most occasions, after the third revisions on any project, the revisions that you're getting or the requests that you're getting from the clients for revisions are not usually valid, or they are usually out of this world, things that are impossible to change. And at the end of the day, if you're not firm on your terms, if you are not firm on the services that you offer, you will find yourself not getting paid because the client is requesting something that is impossible, and they are trying to claim that it was part of the contract or it was part of the agreement that you had with the client or that you had together with them. So that is one reason that you should look at the pricing. How much is your pricing is very important. You should look at way you should relook at your pricing and see, maybe now the client have stressed you, and at some point maybe they have refused to pay you for the services that you've offered. What will you do? The best thing to do maybe in future to avoid discouragement and giving up is to look at ways where you can introduce a term in your consultancy business or in your service supply business, where you say, like, now if for example you are in a media consultancy business like myself, and you are offering 3 rounds of revisions, and you indicated that maybe if a shot was not recorded, for example, if you went to field and you missed a shot, which was actually necessary for that project, you like assure the client that you will go to the field and get that shot without any additional fee. But now, if the shot or the information that you're trying to add or the client is trying to introduce into the project was not part of the first script that they approved, it means that they'll have to pay an extra amount for that service. And if that happens, or if that is the case, it means that you should review the pricing in a way that, for example, you can tell the client that you are offering the first, second, and third round of revisions, and after the third round of revisions, you are charging, say, $100 per an extra revision, so that when they are making review on the project, they are very keen. They make sure that they include every information or every comment from everyone, so that all the information is incorporated in the third revisions, and you can make the final delivery to the client. So you should look at those things and introduce new terms so that you can maybe change the pricing. For example, if your charges was not accommodating the transport, if your charges was not like having for things like logistics, field recce review, recce visits, it doesn't include transport and accommodation, you can now maybe introduce those things into your pricing so that your next client will be able to pay for those things that maybe brought a problem in your that maybe brought a problem in your work while working with a client. So, and as a result, it stressed you while delivering the project or the job. So those are this is one way of working on the like coping with stress and pressure in business. So another one is another way to cope with pressure is to build contracts and agreement where you make sure that before you start a job or before you start a contract to the client, you have a contract in place whereby both of you have to sign. The client have to sign the project or the contract before you start anything. And if the client doesn't sign the contract, you'll not do the job. And at the end of the day, you both win. And this is a case which really happens most of the time, where you sign an agreement with the client, and make sure that the client signs an agreement and you're very firm on it, because most of the clients will maybe play around with the contract. They just tell you, I'll be sending you a signed contract, and they end up not sending you the contract, and you end up doing the job without any contract. And at the end of the day, they try to bring up issues here and there. And if you try to sue them, or if you try to go to any court without any signed contract, you will lose, because they may say they did not sign any contract with you, and they do not have any evidence to show that you've done or to show that there is a work agreement between you and them. So those are the things that you should look at. Also, another thing that maybe can stress you when delivering a project, and this is based on my review of the year, is the team that you have. Some of the team members may let you down during the delivery process of the project. Some team members may delay here and there. They do not keep time. They just want to do things their own way. And when you try to tell them, they don't want to listen. And in the freelance world, and when you're in business, you hire most of the time people on contract. You don't hire them maybe for a long time, but you give them bits of contract and you end up working with them for a long time. So when you're choosing a team member, or when you're choosing members to be part of your team, ensure that you choose people who are ready to follow instructions from you. They are ready to listen to what you're telling them to do in your contract or in your project. Because if they don't listen to you, that contract will be very difficult to complete or to deliver to the client, because you're trying to tell people to do things and they don't want to listen to you. They just want to do their own things or their own way, and it's your contract. It can let you down because the client will see those things. The client will notice and may end up getting you to lose the contract between the client and you. So you may lose that contract because the disagreement between the team, there's no cooperation, you end up delaying the delivery of the project, and the client is not happy after all. It's not happy after all this process of doing the project. So these are things that you should look at when to avoid stress during or when working on a project with a client. So communication is very key when working with a client, and team is very key also, because if you have a very great team who know what they are doing, who are motivated to deliver high quality services, you'll be able to prosper and move forward, and also cut down on stress and pressure, because your team have good customer service and customer relationships with the clients, and the client is so satisfied with how you communicate to them and how you deal with them. So those are the things that are key when on how you can cope with stress, because these are things, the small things that contribute towards your stress, towards stress and pressure. Because in some projects, when you are in a consultancy like myself, delivering video production, you find yourself using your own money to do some things, because before, when you're quoting for this project, you did not consider some small things that came up during the production, and that is why at the end of any quotation, there is what we call contingency cost. Contingency cost is what will cover those things that you forgot to include in the quotation, or it will cover the things that maybe arises in the process of delivering a project. So these contingencies are very key, but it helps the production run smooth and also cover other things that you do not include in the project. So so in conclusion, you cannot you cannot run away from stress and pressure in business or in any business online, or be it online or be it offline. You cannot run away from pressure. Pressure is there to make you strong as a business person. Pressure is there to make you bold when approaching things, and pressure is there to make you grow in business. So we've covered 4 things. we've covered about 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Yeah, actually, we've covered 4 things that you should maybe look at when under pressure or stress in business. The first one is, do not let your first experiences mess up with your vision. Do not let these experiences, the frustration from the client, the stress and pressure from the client, mess up with your vision. The second thing, the second way to cope with stress in business is that you should maybe relook on your pricing, because the stress may be coming from where you have used your own money to facilitate a client's project, which is not advisable. All the costs, all your time should be paid by the client in order for you to deliver them services. Another way is to write down, have contracts and agreements that you can send to clients for them to sign. And once they sign, they agree that they want to work with you on a project. And when they work with you on a project, you will be able to be satisfied, both sides. Like, the agreements is binding, so that everyone is so contented when working on a project and is so committed. Because in some of the projects, you have to commit your own money before the client starts processing any invoice on their side. So this is another thing, to agreements. But now, and lastly, we've talked about relooking at your team. How is your team composition like? You should look at those things and make sure that your team is composed of people who you are in alignment together, who you have the same vision, who are committed and have good communication and customer care services. And that is it on how to cope with pressure in business and freelance. That was my year 2024, the things that I have learned and how I coped with pressure in business and freelance in 2024. I hope you will find, if you're watching later this video, you will find this video helpful. If you find this video long and you want to read an article, you can go to cheptionyi.com and go to the blog page. You can go to cheptionyi.com and click on blog page and search for the article Coping with Pressure and Stress in Business Today, and you'll be able to learn more and read the article there. Up until next time, bye bye and take care. If you have any question, you can type in the chat session and I'll be able to respond to you later, or the comment section here. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Up until next time, bye bye and take care. My name is Cheptionyi Mutai.